Hey guys, it's the Supreme Swordsman here, and today I'm going to make my top 10 moments in the Skypiea saga of One Piece. So, before I get started with my list, there's two things I want to bring up. One, like always, this is only my opinion. If you do not agree with my list, that is totally fine. We can agree to disagree. Second is that out of all the sagas and episodes I've watched in One Piece, it's been a while since I've watched the Skypiea saga, and I went back and I watched a few episodes that I liked on my DVD collection, but I do not remember every single moment that happened in Skypiea just because it's been a while since I've watched it and I didn't have enough time to rewatch the whole thing. But these are moments that really stood out to me, and I believe this is a very good list in my opinion. So I hope you guys like it, and let's go ahead and get started. Alright, number 10 on my list is actually in the very end of Skypiea, and this is when Gonfog actually becomes in charge of the Skypiea again. I really like that moment for me because in that series I grew to really like Gonfog as a character, and I actually really liked him more than other people did compared to the people I talked to about it. For some reason, I just hooked on that character, and I really liked him. And to see in the end that he came back in charge, it was awesome. And he wasn't really considered a god anymore. He was just like the leader. I like that. Like, they didn't consider him. They actually called him God, but he was like, "No, I'm not a god. Like, I'm just, I'll be the leader, but I'm not a god." And I just liked that moment. It wasn't too much. It wasn't anything special, but it was just a moment I'd like to see, and that's why it's on my list. And number 9 is actually back before they went to Skypiea. This is I believe the island is named Jaya, the one they went to right before they got to Skypiea, and this is actually the part where Luffy goes back to kick Bellamy, I think his name was Ash, the guy that beat him up in the bar earlier on. I love that moment when he just goes back and kicks his ass, and I just loved it because he wasn't even going to do anything after what happened the first time, but he came back, him and his men came back again and hurt their friends right where Nolan's family member from other generation lives. Forgot his name, and then Luffy got mad and just went back and kicked their ass, and that was like right before they were about to leave the Skypiea. So I just love that moment, just going back and watching that. Number 8 is actually Luffy versus Enel, or Eneru, however you want to call him, depending on if you watch the sub to dub. But the reason why I really like this, I'm not going to talk about the whole fight because I feel like that's more than just a moment. But my moment for me is actually going to be when Enel realized, dang, my moves don't hurt this guy. What is this? And he was like, man, if I ever go to Earth, I got to get this rubber. Like this rubber must be invincible or something like that. And he thought, because being in Skypiea, he never seen rubber. So to see a guy that didn't get hurt by his lightning was very surprising for him to see that. I just loved seeing it because I knew, anyone who knew the season, when he knew that fight was going to happen, you knew that Luffy was not going to be hurt by electric attacks. And when he didn't get hurt by them, and Enel just realized that, and you see that face on him when he's like, man, I'm going to have to think of something else to do. It was pretty cool. And Enel still had his own. He didn't really use his electric abilities to fight Luffy, but he still held his own in that fight, and it was a pretty interesting fight for the most part. Now this is actually when my next moment is actually when Enel, or Eneru, I'm just gonna call him Enel, when Enel beat up all the Straw Hats. And this is on my list not because, and this is another one where it's on my list not because I liked the moment, like I thought it was I liked it. It's because it was a good moment. Like, when I was watching this moment, I was mad. Like, I was really into the series when I was watching this moment. It really actually made me want to, jump in and beat up Enel myself. Like, it just got me mad. And this is, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is when Enel just started dogging all the Straw Hats with his lightning abilities, and one fell after another. And, eventually Zoro gets back up and then gets knocked back down again. And it was this awesome part of the series. I was like, man, could one of you guys please just fight this? And I think Robin eventually gets up first out of all of them, if I remember correctly. But I just love that moment, because I remember watching back on that moment, man, I was into it, I just really liked that moment. My next one is actually when Gonfog goes and saves Chopper, when Chopper's getting beat up by that one high priest guy back at the Mary, and the Mary's on fire. I just love that moment, because I was like, man, Chopper's strong, and maybe, I don't think he could have beat that priest even by himself, but he's not just fighting the priests, he's protecting the ship. And I knew none of those other Star Hearts were around, so when Gonfall came and saved them, I was happy to see that. And that's probably one of the moments where I was like, man, I really like Gonfall. And it was just a really awesome moment for me. In that fight, even though Gonfall got his ass beat in that fight, it was a cool fight to see. I'm sorry I don't remember that priest's names. He was the one that could use fire abilities. I don't remember his name though. Gonfall saves Chopper. Alright, next on my list is actually the backstory. This is when the backstory of Nolan, and I can't remember the other guy's name. I'm sorry, I can't remember the other guy's name. The guy that lives in the island and who's in charge of everything there. My part that I really liked in this is when the end, when he was leaving, and he comes up, the guy on the island comes up and says, "Hey, you're welcome back here anytime," because before that they had a little argument and he thought he could never come back to the island. And we found out he was allowed to come back. It was really cool, and I really liked it. And even though you knew he was never going to come back. And I want to also add in there when you get to see Nolan get executed, and I was just like, man, I feel so sorry for them because they don't know that he's getting executed. Like, and they shut up like his whole crew, so no one really believed him that you know what happened on that island, and it was just a really touching moment for me. Like a lot of parts in this saga, I was like, man, like I was really into it, you know, and I really liked it. So I just really enjoyed that moment. This is actually when Nami is riding the tree or vine or that big thing to get up to try to fight Enel, and Wiper comes up with his impact dial for like the third or fourth time. I think it was the third, and finally breaks down that vein or that root or whatever exactly it was. And I was so happy when I did that. And I actually thought that at that point, that Wiper wasn't gonna be able to get back up, that he was gonna be like either dead or just immobilized for maybe his life. Like I didn't think they were gonna make him be able to come back from that, but he did, which was cool. But yeah, that was an awesome moment when I got to see that, because out of all the Shandorians, Wiper, I really liked Wiper, so that was cool for me to see that. I really enjoyed that moment. And this one actually goes back to the whole Chopper and Gonfall and the Mary thing, but this is Chopper saving the Mary. And what I mean by saving the Mary is, even though Chopper had to fight another guy, instead of, you know, trying to worry about himself or trying to worry about other things, he used his own body to stop the ship from going on fire. That is just so, I just give so much respect for Chopper at that point. And not a lot of people talk about this moment when they talk about skypiea moments, but I love this moment, and I just really liked seeing Chopper risk his life for his ship. And it was just really cool to see how much they really cared about his ship. And not only just the ship, but he knows how disappointed the crew would be in him if he let that happen. And even though the ship did get pretty messed up, he kept it, you know, at least able to be fixed, you know. And he took a lot of bruises from that. He stopped the fire with himself. Like, he hugged it and, like, patted himself with the fire and tried to get it out. And it was amazing. I was like, man, Chopper, I just gained a lot of respect for Chopper after that point, and I really liked it. Number 2 on the list is actually one most people probably thought was number 1. And this is actually when Luffy rings the bell in the end and eventually goes to beat Enel. And I really like this moment because, of course, it's like the big moment where everything that you wanted to happen, the whole story came to be. And I really enjoyed that when, you know, he finally got to ring that bell again. And, you know, everyone just heard the beautiful sound of the bell. And all I could think about was Nolan. And I gotta say, out of all the stories I've watched, and of all the backstories I've watched, I really felt bad for Nolan. And I really wanted to get to see more of Nolan. Like, I just liked Nolan's character. I just really enjoyed his whole backstory. It's one of my favorite backstories of this series so far. I just really enjoyed Nolan's series. So that's all I could think about when he rang the bell. I was like, man, then I just really, when you can get that into a character like that, you know it's a good series. I don't know if anyone else felt the same way, but I did, and it was awesome. Number 1, this is actually before they went to Skypiea. This is back in Jaya, and if you have not guessed from my list so far, this is actually when Luffy and Zoro get beat up really bad by the bandits. I think the main guy's name was Bellamy. I might be wrong, but I think the guy's name was Bellamy. and they just got completely beat up by the guys. And pretty much what happened was, of course, Luffy and Zoro could have beat them up, but because of what happened in the past with Shanks, Luffy just let the guys beat him up because like there was no reason to fight them. And not only did I think that was an awesome moment, but this is why I thought it was such an awesome moment. For Luffy to do that, I knew a little bit more why he would do it, because, you know, he saw Shanks do it, and he was like, man, if Shanks can do this, then I can do it too. I want to be just like Shanks. Not just like Shanks, but just have as much respect as Shanks has. But Zoro, he had no idea why he didn't want to fight him. But that's why I like Zoro so much. Like, everyone says Zoro is such a good character because his fighting abilities and just for being Zoro. But the reason why I like Zoro so much is because the faithfulness he has to his captain, man. He has so much faithfulness in his captain. And as soon as the captain told him, man, I don't want you to fight. Don't fight. No matter, he didn't even question it. He just said, okay. And he just got completely beat up until I believe it was Nami who ended up coming to take them out after they were completely beat up. I just really enjoyed that moment. I was just so excited watching it. I was like, man, this series is so good. Like, I was looking back at the Shanks thing. I'm looking at this now. I'm like, man, this perfect connection right there. This perfect connection. And I just love Zoro's part of that, because they could have easily done that scene with just Luffy there, and it would have still been an awesome scene. But adding Zoro and adding just how faithful he was at that point to Luffy, I just loved that moment. It was my favorite moment of the saga, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but yeah, that's pretty much my moments in Skypiea. I really love Skypiea. I love Skypiea, the whole Skypiea saga. I really have to go back and rewatch that sometime soon. I really need to get to that because I don't remember everything of it. Because when you watch a lot of anime, especially how fast I've been watching anime lately, you start to forget a little bit of things. And although I do remember the main story of the Skypiea saga, I don't remember every single thing that happened. And I'm trying to go back and just remember some of the things, like names I forgot and other stuff. So I'll eventually get back to watching that series again. But yeah, I just had a really good time with that arc, and of course the other arcs were better, in my opinion at least. I actually thought the Broke arc was better than the Skypiea, but I still like the Skypiea arc. It was very good. And if you have not that caught up with One Piece, then just go watch. Well, never mind, you wouldn't be watching this video. But yeah, so you guys should definitely please comment, rate, and subscribe. And also, I want to have a little something to say about this. I know this doesn't have anything to do with the top 10 moments, but what do you guys think about Pirate Warriors and One Piece Pirate Warriors Skypiea not being in it? If you guys just want to leave comments on that, you can. I'm just not playing Pirate Warriors because I'm just now far enough in the story of One Piece to go back and watch it, and I just really was kind of iffy about that. I didn't know how I felt about it. I was like, not adding Skypiea? Come on, you could have put some cool fights in there, but that game was still cool. I just wanted to add that in there real quick and see what you guys thought about it. But yeah, that's my top 10 moments in this saga, and I really hope you enjoyed my video. Please continue to subscribe, comment, and rate. I'm just going to keep on doing my thing and keep on giving you views and keep on giving you I keep on releasing videos for you guys. And also, one more thing I want to say before I leave is this: light the fire of Shandor. That was my favorite line so far in One Piece. I love that line. Light the fire of Shandor.